Okay, exercise 2I on page 353 is a little bit harder than what we were looking at. All the ones earlier gave us either the A1 or it gave us the final A, the final term of the series. These last two don't. They give you a middle section. So I'll do I for you and you see if you can do I and J. I'll also point out places where you can maybe stop the video and try to finish it yourself. So for I, they're saying I have to find out S40. So what is the sum of all the terms up to the 40th term? And they give you A5, the fifth term, equals 42, and A15, the 15th term, equals negative 18. So it's giving you a part of it, and here's how you should conceive of this. In the series, there's a bunch of terms, blah, 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 comma, and then there's 42, which is A5, that's the fifth term, comma, blah, 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 blah. And then there is negative 18, which is the 15th term, and blah, 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 blah. It's going and going and going. And over here somewhere is A40, which is the last term. And over here somewhere is A1. And they don't give you A1, they don't give you A40, they don't give you D, they don't give you anything. So what you have to do is you have to figure out D. That's job number one. And in our little toolkit here, we do have a formula that will help us. It's this one that's going to allow us to calculate D. But the problem we run into is that it's giving us this middle section here. Fortunately, we know that D is the same regardless of where in this series we are, because it's an arithmetic series, and therefore D is always the same. Doesn't matter. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this middle section here, and we're going to make it its own mini-series. And in that series, it's going to start with 42, and it's going to have a bunch of other terms, and it's going to end with negative 18. And in our new little mini-series then, this will become A1, and this one will become A11. And why is it A11? You might be tempted to say that it's A10, but 15 minus 5 is 10, and 11 minus 1 is 10. So to correctly label it, and it's important that we get the right number here, this is in fact A11. So in our new mini-series we have 11 terms, A1 is 42, and A11 is negative 18. So we can use our formula from this little toolkit here. We can use this formula to calculate D, because we know the final term is negative 18 equals the first term, which is 42, plus n minus 1, and n is 11. There's 11 terms in there, so 11 minus 1 is 10, times D. We can solve for D here. Let's do that really quickly. Let's subtract 42 from both sides. We got negative 60 equals 10D. And that means that D equals negative 6. And so we've managed to calculate D by thinking of this section in the middle here as its own little mini-series. And D equals negative 6 will be true for this entire broader series here. So if we have D, and here we're supposed to find S40, so we know that n is 40. We don't yet have A. We can figure out A using this formula as well. Because we know D, and we know that A5 is 42, we could say, and this is an application of this formula here again, we could say that 42, which is this value, which we know to be A5 of the larger series, right? If 42 is A5, equals A1 plus 5, because it's A5, minus 1 times negative 6. And so what I've done here is I put 42, which is A5, and now what I'm doing is I'm conceiving of this mini-series where A5 equals, our term number 5, equals the first term plus 5 minus 1 times negative 6. So 42 equals A1 plus 4 times negative 6 minus 24. Add 24 to both sides, and we get A1 equals 66. So now we've got some more information. We know that A1 equals 66. We know that D equals -6. We know that N equals 40. We know that right there. So we've got enough information to use this formula to calculate the sum of the first 40 terms. So let's get ourselves some more paper here. Yeah, let's keep that in view. So sum up to 40, I'll put that in there, sum up to 40 will equal 40 over 2 times A. That's 2A from here. 2A is 132. Continuing to add this formula, plus N minus 1. N is 40, right? So that's 39 times D, and we determined D was -6. So the sum up to 40 is given by all this business. I don't have a calculator handy, so I can do what I can in my head. Negative, so 132 minus 42, 234. So equals 20 times -102 equals a negative 2040. Oh, I could do it without a calculator after all. There's your answer.